You have to start inside the parentheses and do 2 minus 1, which is 2, or not 2 minus 1, but 2 times 1. That's 2, and add 3 to it to get 5, square the 5 to get 25, and multiply by 2 to get 50. This is 16, divided by 8 is 2. So 2 plus 50 minus 6 should give you 46. Answer for this one should be 243. The answer for this should be 6. The winning number today is 5. 13 out of 19 with homework is a percent of 68%. Here are the answers. On the first one, I've inserted a number in the problem that caused it to come out uneven. So when you set it up, you should end up with 29.1 for the x, and I don't normally do that. But anyway, your expressions should be 2x minus 1, x, a half x plus 4, 4x minus 13, and 4x plus 11. And once again, when you solve that, you end up with 11 and a half x into 335, into 335, and it's 29.1 if you round to the tenths place. You could have rounded to 29 and then solved it out from there for the rest of these people. Everybody that did homework will get 2 points for this problem, because I meant for it to come out even, but it's still workable, 29.1, and when you do that with the rest of them, this is what you get, except for this one here. I believe that one should have been 155.66, I believe. On number 2, you should have 3x minus 34 plus x equals 14. That'll give you 4x minus 34 equals 14, and solve it down to 12. So 12 is this one, and when you plug 12 back into 3x minus 34, you come up with 2. If you have this one, that's 2 points, and this is 2 points. 2 points per answer on this one. And on the last one, you should have 2x plus 13 plus x equals 25. If you solve for x, you get 4. So that makes this one 4. And when you put 4 in for this one, you come back with 21. This is 2 points, and so is this one. So it's out of 10 for your extra points. 2 points for problem 1 automatically, and then 2 points per answer for 2 and 3. Today's objective, still the same as before. We'll start a new one next week, but we're still going to create equations from problems and then solve them. Here's example 1. Frank picked 12 less than twice as many apples as Julie. George picked 5 more than half as many as Frank. Alice picked 6 more than George. The total apples picked is 42. There is a bonus of $1.60 per apple for each apple over 11. Who earned the bonus, and how much money did they earn? So we will lower this down and start with Frank. So here is Frank. Which person in the problem do we know absolutely nothing about? Julie. So we'll put Julie here. What's Julie? X. And if Frank is 12 less than twice as many as Julie, then what's Frank? 2x minus 12. So you double Julie, she's x, to get 2x, and then you subtract 12. George is next. So for George, he picked 5 more than half as many as Frank. So here's Frank. 2x minus 12. What should I do to 2x minus 12 before I do anything else? Parentheses, put parentheses around it. And 5 more than means what? Add 5, and where do I put the plus 5? Outside the parentheses, and on which side? On the right side. Half as many as Frank. What should I do now? Times by 1/2. Now we have to simplify that. I'm going to have to multiply each item inside the parentheses by 1/2. What's 1/2 of 2? 1. Do I write 1x? No, just write x. What's half of minus 12? Minus 6. And we still have the plus 5 from the outside. How can I simplify this? Minus 1. So that means George is minus 1. Next up is Alice. And we'll just put an A down for her. Alice picked 6 more than George. George is x plus 1. So if George is x plus 1, I'll put it here at the bottom. Not x plus 1, it's x minus 1. There we go. And Alice picked 6 more. Then what's that expression going to be when I simplify it?
X plus 5.
X plus 5, right. So x plus 5 equals, and the total is 42. I have 2 x's. If I add 1 to it, what do I have? 2 x's, add 1 to it. 3. 3 plus another x, 4. 5. So I have 5 x's. Negative 12 minus 1 is what? Negative 12 minus 1. Negative 13. What's negative 13 plus 5? Negative 8. And then we have 42. Do I add or subtract 8 on the right side? I add 8. And when I add 8, what do I get? 50. What do I do to the 50? If I divide by 5, what's x? 10. So we need to go back and find Frank, Julie, George, and Alice. Okay, x is 10. If I put x as 10 right here for Frank, 2 times 10 is 20, minus 12 gives me what? 8. Julie is going to be what? 10, because Julie is x. George is x minus 1. So what does George end up being? And Alice is x plus 5. What is she? 15. There is a bonus of $1.60 per apple for each apple over 11. Does that mean I take the number of apples they picked and multiply it by 160? No. What should I do? $14? 4, yes, 4. Who had the bonus? Who has the bonus? Alice has the bonus. And how many apples did she go over the limit of 11? 4. So what do I do to 4? 4 times 160 is what? $6.40. So Alice had the bonus for $6.40. John picked 6 less than 3 times the apples that Jessica picked. Jackie picked 10 more than twice as many apples as John. Josie picked 15 more than Jessica. The total apples picked is 227. There is a bonus of $3.44 for each apple picked over 45. Who earned the bonus and how much is it? The solution for the problem, and it's going to be 2 of them. The first one is John. John gets the bonus. He had 54, and if you multiply the amount he's over 45 by, which is 9, by $3.44, he will come up with $30.96. Jack is the other one, or is that Jackie? Jackie, yes, Jackie. Jackie ends up with $251.12. If you have both names and numbers, you can come up and get it. Joe picked 5 less than half as many as Jody. The total apples picked is 55. How many apples did each person pick? So we have Joe and Jody. Which one is going to be X? Jody is X. Joe picked 5 less than half as many as Jody. So half as many as Jody is 1/2 X. And then what do I put? What do I put after a half X? Minus 5. All of this equals 55. If I have a half X and an X, how many X's do I have? 1.5 X's is right. Now, am I going to add 5 or subtract 5 on the right? I'm going to add 5. That's right. So 55 plus 5. That would give me 60. And then what do I do to 60? Yeah, divide by 1.5. What is that? 40, yes. So which person is 40? Jody is 40. Now if I insert 40 over here for Joe, what's half of 40? Half of 40 is 20, and then subtract 5 to get what? 15. So Joe is 15. You must have Jody 40 and Joe 15 to get credit. The solution is you start with Luke, and then we go to Larry. Which one of those guys is going to be the X? Larry. And Luke picked 10 more than 3 times as many apples as Larry. What's Luke?
3x plus 10.
3x plus 10. And all of it is set equal to 50. How many X's do I have? 4. Am I going to add or subtract 10 with 50? If I subtract it, what do I get? And what is X? 10. So that means Larry must be 10. And if I put 10 in here for Luke, 3 times 10 is 30, plus 10 is 40.